and making his way to the stage, a legendary actor that we're so excited to talk to and here in Aberdeen. Give it up for John Rhys-Davies!
I remember being in a bar in a wonderful hotel at the seafront. I can't remember what it was now. And there was a young American oil man there. And he said, barman, I'd like a glass of your finest Scottish whiskey. And the barman went, oh, yes, sir, yes, sir. And the American said, thank you, can I have some ginger ale with that? And the barman looked at him with such horror and grabbed the glass, poured it back into the bottle and said, sir, I'd advise you to keep your adulteries to marriage.
Yes, love it.
So, what are we going to talk about today, eh? I mean, I could give you since we have some young people here, I will give you I will give you the short and brief version of how to succeed in life. All right? If you follow this, you will get to the top of whatever profession you choose. And I mean this in all honesty. I wish I had discovered it 20 years before I did. The secret to success in life is good manners. Good manners is not just knowing which knife and fork to use, though that may sometimes be useful if you're dining with a cannibal, for instance. The secret of good manners is not just the I's and the don'ts and the do's and the don'ts and things like that. The secret of good manners is to try and make strangers feel comfortable with you. And if you can do that, then you will succeed, I promise you. Now, many of you are shy. Put your hand up if you're shy. And there are some that are so shy they won't put their hands up. Now, shyness is vanity. Shyness is you thinking everybody is looking at you. And the way round that is to think that everybody is looking at you and thinking, oh gosh, they're so much better than me, and everybody else is shy. If I come onto this stage and look at you all and think, gosh, they're all looking at me. Gosh, they're saying, he looks a lot older than we remember him. He's not able to stand up straight anymore. He's getting a bit crouched like that. You know, is that a bit of breakfast on his jacket there? If I start thinking like that, I can't talk to you. I am crippled and paralyzed with, that was nearly a new word, wasn't it? Crippleized. I was nearly crippleized by looking at you. So what I do is I assume that you are all scared of me, that you are all in some sort of terrible awe of me. So my job is to come up and make you feel comfortable, to assure you that no question that you ask is a foolish question, even if I've heard it 10,000 times. And that is the way to succeed. You may not be the sharpest mind in the company, but if you are the person that people will come to because they like you, because you answer their questions, because you will deal with them straightforwardly and squarely, I promise you, you will get to the top of the company in time. Affability is now recognized, apparently, as being the number one characteristic for success. Now, how do you go about this when you are shy? Well, I want you, sir, and you, and all those shy people, I want you to start by going out every day and saying hello to everyone you meet. Everyone. Morning, good morning, hello, how are you? Fabulous day, isn't it? Oh, cold as a witch's tit today. So, I wouldn't advise you to do that. You can offend Scottish wishes very easily, I'm told. Right. But the whole point is you make contact with people. And most people will say good morning or hello back. Some people just go like that back. But there will be one person who will go, when you go, good morning, will go, and you will be about that high. Do not be put off by this. This is the examination. This is the examination. The next time you see them, you'll say, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, sir. Good morning, good morning. Hello, how are you? Good morning. By the 25th time, they will be going, By the 27th time, they'll be going, morning. By the 30th time, they'll be going, good morning. By the 35th time, they will be going, good morning, how are you today? And that is victory, and when you will have passed the examination. All right? Don't be afraid of being out of place in being warm. You will make mistakes, and you will realize that you have made mistakes. But by and large, everyone you meet, greet, welcome, and encourage. You know, that is the most fabulous nurse's uniform I've ever seen. I think it is fabulous. You know, sir, that T-shirt there is perfect. And you have the finest moustache I've ever seen. Better than mine. Oh, did I say that out loud? You know, Captain America. No finer one have I ever seen there. It doesn't matter. Make contact with other people. Success is learning how to make strangers feel comfortable with you. Here endeth that lesson. All right. Right. Have you got a question?
I do have another round of applause for that life lesson. My goodness, what an education. Thank you so much. Just a quick question for me, and then again, everyone, we've got a microphone on my left and a microphone on my right. Please come up, and as he said, don't be shy. Come ask a question to our legendary friend, John Rhys-Davies. First of all, thank you for being here. How has the Comic-Con experience been for you so far?
Wonderful. You are a wonderful people. I love the Scots. Of the 4 tribes of the British Isles, you are the smartest. Mind you, you don't play rugby as well as we played last night.
Oh. Uh-oh.
But it was not a bad game last night. Anyone see the game? Oh, well, we got beaten, but then, you know, it was a noble beating. Damn it. Right.
Well, we have a lot of young actors in the crowd, a lot of young screenwriters, a lot of people wanting to get into the industry. Any advice for all of them watching right now?
I hate this question.
Sorry.
Basically because you're all looking to me to give you good advice. The good advice you got in the previous non-question, make yourself easy to work with. Make yourself there are basic rules in all things, aren't there? If you're working with someone, ask yourself every day, would I pay me what I've been paid today for doing the work I've done? There's a very famous American military man who always says to his troops, what have you done for the US taxpayer today? And that's true of all jobs, all of us, whether we're actors or anything like that. For actors, the additional burden is not just in looking after your employer, who is risking a huge amount of money to employ you on this particular project. The other thing is to look after the audience. The drama's laws, the drama's patrons give. And we who live to please must please to live. Every actor, every writer, every musician should have that engraved on a big plaque and see it when they wake up every morning on their opposite wall. If you are an entertainer of any sort, it is the audience that you have to please. I always get annoyed when I hear of actors going, oh, bloody audience. I've just given them a tremendous applause. They didn't give me any applause. No. The problem is with you. No matter how wonderful you think your performance was, you did not please the audience. And your livelihood depends on pleasing. So what other new advice could I give to young actors? Well, this is the most democratic age of filmmaking that there's ever been. Get 2 or 3 friends together and a semi-decent Apple iPhone. Get 5 friends together and say, today you're writing it, you're directing it, and you 3 here are going to be acting in it, right? Write the story for them. And next week, you're going to be writing it, you're going to be directing it, and you 3 are going to be in it. Make a 2-minute movie. Tell a story. Tell a story about a man. Anything becomes a 2-minute story. You all gather in the room waiting for this so-called legendary actor to come up, and he comes up on the stage and goes, and leaves. And that's a story. That's a story. Anyone can write a 2-minute story and make a 2-minute film. Do it. And learn to tell the story through the lens of the camera. The great practitioner of that, of course, is Steven Spielberg. Steven would be the greatest filmmaker of all time if we were still in silent movies, because nobody can tell a story better visually than him. And edit that film. Edit that 2-minute film and get it out. On what the heck's that? What's
Instagram, YouTube?
YouTube or something like that. Yes. As you can see, I'm really up to date with all my technology. Put it out there. Put a 2-minute movie out there. Nobody will watch it, but make another one next week, and the week after, and the week after that, and the week after that. And when you've done 5 or 6 2-minute movies that tell the story and get better and better, then make a 5-minute one. And when you've done enough of those, make a 10 or 15-minute short film, and perhaps enter it into a competition. And then, by the end of that time, when you've done 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 of these, you will be a filmmaker. You will also learn what it's like to be on the other side of the camera. You will also learn what it is you need to do when you're in front of the camera and how you can help the people behind the camera. As for whether you personally will be a star, I can't tell you. All I can tell you is this: there is more luck involved in success in our business than any other job that I know. You know, you don't expect a lucky surgeon. You know, they're either good and they're doing it well, or they're not. But any good surviving actor who's been around for 40, 50 years will tell you, after you've complimented them, said you're wonderful, etc., 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 they will look at you, if they're honest, and they will say, you've no idea how much luck there was in it. You've no idea how incidentally it really started. I can't do anything more than wish you luck if that's the profession you choose. All I can say is, do not be afraid to walk away. Do not be the, how old was she? The 42-year-old actress in my year at RADA who walked into the sea because she felt herself a failure. Do not be the 35-year-old man in a restaurant in LA waiting for the next job because you're going to get it because you were at school with a guy who's producing that series, and you actually had a little walk-on part the other day, and this season he's promised you you're going to have a few lines. Do not waste your life. Find something that demands and fulfills you. Look, it's quite simple. You know, if you want to be happy in life, be active. The Americans have that wonderful aphorism in the Constitution. Jefferson wrote, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Wonderful, except for the fact you cannot pursue happiness. Happiness is a destination, not a thing. Happiness is what happens when at the end of a really hard day or a really hard week, you come home and you sit down and you look around and think, God, I'm so bloody lucky. Incidentally, Jefferson, in talking about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, was actually paraphrasing John Locke. Locke was an English philosopher, yes. I thought all the British philosophers were Scots, but no, it's life, liberty, and property, Locke said. But Jefferson didn't want to put property into the American Constitution because property included slaves, and he was not going to include slavery as part of the American Constitution. That was a little by thing. Anyway, have I dealt enough with actors? Yes, I have. Good. Yes, thank you.
Round of applause. I knew you would have some pearls of wisdom for us. Thank you so very much. We do have a question to my right.
Oh, questioners.
Yes, feel free to introduce yourself as well. Hello.
Hi.
Where are you? Put your hand up and wave. Oh, there you are. Old man is getting a little bit short-sighted, isn't he? Yes. Sorry about that. Talk into the microphone.
Who's the favourite actor that you've done a movie with?
Oh, there are so many of them that I can't even begin to list them. Well, Peter Weller, sitting next to me over there. Peter and I worked together many years ago, and he's even got a photograph to prove it. Marvelous actor. But then there are so many good actors and actresses. Who's your favorite, by the way? Not me. Who's your favorite? Harrison Ford.
Adam Sandler.
Who?
Adam Sandler.
Ah, right. Can't say I've worked with them. Yet. Maybe never, but there you are. And what do you want to do when you leave school?
Either a footballer or an astronomer.
Well, astronomy is a great thing. Do you know what? I've been asked, not officially yet, but I may be helping NASA do some publicity for one of the new Mars lander programs. And an astronomer is really a great profession right at this moment, because they've just put up this new amazing telescope which will really go so far back in time to the early origins of the universe that there will be amazing discoveries. Now, the other day I discovered something. I was doing a little horror picture in Ireland, which is called The Gates. And I play an 19th century photographer who has invented a strange machine for conjuring the spirits. But I based it on an astronomer called Herschel, William Herschel, the first great astronomer royal. And you know, Herschel came to England from Germany as a musician. And you can still hear some of Herschel's music. He ended up discovering the planet, which I used to call Uranus, but apparently that's the rude version these days, Uranus. And he became an astronomer royal as well. Astronomers are very smart people. Be ambitious. Become a footballer as well as an astronomer. Because, you know, I knew an extraordinary Irish footballer once, and I met him. He was an amazing fellow. And after the game, he lifted his trouser leg, and all the way up his trouser leg, you could just see bruises where he had been kicked. Anyone guess who that footballer was?
Roy Keane.
Georgie Best. Amazing. A bit before your time. Actually, a bit before your dad's time. All right, sorry about that. Anyway, good luck. Good luck. Nice questions.
Yes, round of applause. Great question. Thank you. Yes.
One over there. One over here. Ah, right.
How did you get into acting?
How did I get into acting? I was a very bad and rather unhappy boy sent from Africa to go and be educated in England. And I hated my boarding school, and I hated people because I hadn't actually played with people. My school was accustomed to dealing with the colonial boys who really didn't know how to settle down in life. And they put me into a school play, a little play, a dormitory play. And then they put me into another play. And then I did some Shakespeare. And when I found Shakespeare, I found the language with which to articulate my adolescent rage. You common cry of curs, I banish you. It was wonderful. But I really wanted to be a writer, and still do. And then I went to university, the University of East Anglia. In its very first year, there were only 105 students at the university. And I founded the Dramatic Society and stole all the best parts. And then I taught for a year after I graduated. And then I went to a place called the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art. And I left on Sunday night and went to the Belgrade Theatre, Coventry, on Monday morning. And I had 7 weeks out of work in the first 5 years. Yes, that's right. Anyway, so how are you going to do it?
I don't know.
How old are you now, may I ask?
11.
You're 11. Very good. Yeah, 11 is now the time to start learning. Between 11 and 20 are the times you will memorize things. If you have not learnt by memory certain things, by the time you're 20, forget it, it's over. Yeah. Learn some Shakespearean sonnets. Find a poem that you like, a poet that you like, and learn some verses. Here's a quick tip, which is far too young for you at the moment. But when you're 16, saying poetry to girls does not actually charm them that much. But when you're 60, it does. Good luck, dear boy. Good luck. University first. Right.
Thank you, Robert. We've got another question over here on the right.
Another. Yes.
Hi, John. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I was just wondering if there's any maybe roles you missed out on that you really wish you had gotten in the past.
Yes, I'm not going to play my Hamlet. Oh, God. Do you know, I'll tell you the Hamlet story because it just shows you how stupid actors can be. I have this wonderful manager in LA. I had then. Alas, he is not so healthy these days. He called me up one day and said, "Hey, Johnny, West Coast Repertory wants you to play Hamlet." And I said, "Don't be daft. Don't be daft. I'm 20 stone. Nobody wants me to play Hamlet. They probably want me to play Claudius, and I've done Claudius. They might want me to do the Ghost or something like that. They want you to play Hamlet." I said, "Don't be stupid. John, it's the name part. Do you want to play it or not?" I say no. It's 3 months out of your life. You won't earn any money. And I won't earn any commission. And I said, look, Russ, you have to have this wrong. Because, you know, I'm grounded. I know who I am. You can't get me just off on a flight of fantasy like that. And he said, "Johnny, do you want to play Hamlet or not?" I said, yes. He said, "All right, we still on for dinner?" I said, "Yeah, sure. 7 o'clock, your place." I get down to his place the next day, and I say, that evening, and I say, "Look, I've reread Hamlet. I've reread the notes that I made when I was a young student playing Hamlet. Look, I'm going to lose 40 pounds. Yes, I'm a bit old for it, but I mean, McKellen is playing it at 81 now, isn't he? I think the record before was, anyway, one of the great nights of the theatre, and he was doing it when he was 53. And I said, yeah, I've read it. I've relearned the first act. And he said, "Oh, I got the wrong play. It was Macbeth." Yes, so you will never hear my young Hamlet. God, it would have been so good too. Never mind. But there are lots of parts I didn't play. And lots of the parts that I still will play. Take care.
Yes. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Just working the floor right up here.
Hi. Just wondering, you're so tall, but...
Stand.
Hiya. Just wondering, you're so tall, but you played a dwarf. Was it difficult at all, or was it more fun than anything in Lord of the Rings?
Do you have a problem with the appearance of dwarves? Eh?
No.
Good. Well, don't pick on me because of my size, laddie, or I'll take you outside. And then all your trousers will need shortening to the knees. Eh? Yes, I am proud to say that I am, I was anyway, one of the tallest dwarves in Scotland. Unfortunately, I'm shrinking. They dropped a wall on me in Croatia in 2002 and broke my back in 5 places, and I'm starting to do that, you know, and standing up straight is a little bit harder these days. Yeah, you want to know what it was like to play a dwarf? First day, I got the full armor and all that on, and it looks as if I may have to play this part on my knees. Hold this for me a second. Right, so there I am. With the axe. Turn the helmet down to about there. And I go, "Ah!" And it takes another 30 minutes just to tidy up the makeup. So we had to go to plan B, and then plan C and D and E and F. But a wonderful experience, by the way. Yes, thank you for that. Right.
We've got a question from a lovely lady to the right.
Hello, lovely lady.
You are an absolute rocket. It has been amazing to hear from you today and strangely life-affirming. So thanks for coming along. My question is, can we look forward to seeing you in the next Indiana Jones film?
Well, let me tell you that if I was in it, I wouldn't be allowed to tell you anyway. But I think we're all looking forward to it, and yes, I think it'll be an interesting experience when it turns up, and that is the answer you're going to get.
It was worth a shot.
Thank you so much. We've got a question here, and then after this one, we have time for one more. If anyone would like to come up, this will be our second to last. Hello.
Hello. What was the best script you've ever read?
The best script I ever read?
Yeah.
Oh, what an interesting question. Many years ago, a man called James Clavell, who I believe was a Scotsman, he was caught in Singapore when the Japanese captured Singapore. He wrote a number of books, including King Rat, but he also wrote a great book called Shogun. And we made that into a miniseries, and the man who adapted it was a very, very, very clever screenwriter himself. You could not take a word out of a sentence. You could not take a sentence out of a scene. You could not take a scene out of the whole 12-hour miniseries without damaging it, which led to an interesting thing, because we were meant to be in Tokyo in the tanks for 3 weeks, and we went to 7 weeks, which meant that MGM had lost a huge amount of money. The show was going to go well over. So they sent a 26-year-old executive vice president out to, always start at the bottom, when you're, if your uncle is, part of MGM or something like that, you can always go to Harvard and, and then start at the bottom level, vice president, and work your way up, it was going to be very interesting because he had authority to take an hour out of the show. He turns up on the first day and he's got a T-shirt on which says, "Show business is my life," which sort of raised a few eyebrows. And I was really wondering how Eric Bercovici, the producer and adapter of the film, was going to take to this, because Bercovici was known to have a little bit of a temper. There was the time, for instance, when he waited till everybody else had assembled in the MGM Writers Building and opened his bag and took out an Uzi and a hand grenade and said, "Gentlemen, today the writer's view will prevail." He got banned from the Writers Building anyway. So I was really interested to see how this was going to work out. And I said to him, "Eric, what are you going to do?" He said, "Watch the master play the fish." So this young man came on, and Eric was what, 60? And it was really like, Eric, baby, listen, I'm not here to damage your show. I mean, I'm with you all the way. I got to take an hour out of your show, but don't worry, Eric, baby, I'm going to look after you. Right, and Eric said, "Well, I really appreciate that. First of all, whatever you cut, anything, baby, anything, whatever you cut out, just give me a little detailed note as to how it's going to relate to what's happened before and what's going to happen afterwards." Anything, Eric, baby, anything. And one more thing, the hotel has to have your passport because it has to go to the local prefecture of police. Yeah, sure, yeah, have it. Okay, guys, I'm with you, 100%. He leaves the room, and Bercovici turns to the assembled actors and he says, "Right, your job is to take him out every night and get him drunk." And more. There are children present. which we did. And this poor fellow never, ever, ever got a chance to... You could not take a word out of a sentence out of a scene out of the whole thing, without there being holes, you know, and he never had the chance to show us how to fill in these holes. And after 2 or 3 weeks, you know, the studio was saying, when are you back? When will you have made the cuts and this sort of thing? And he would go to Berkovici and say, look, I've got to go back to LA. I've got to go back to LA. And Berkovici would say, oh, look, you know, the police still haven't returned your passport. They, you know, this sort of thing. Cut to 5 weeks later, we had caught up on the lost time. And finally, he went back to LA with his passport, and we still had the entire script intact. That shows you what a good writer does, and a great producer. Take care.
Thank you.
Bravo. Thank you so much. We have time for one last question, and then we're getting to the cosplay.
Thank you so much for
Closer to
sharing.
the mic.
Oh, sorry. Thank you for sharing all your stories and your advice. My question is, do you have any specific way of getting into character, or does it entirely depend on what character you're asked to play?
When you're a younger actor, this is working, isn't it? Yes, I think it's working. When you're a younger actor, you go through the whole thing. What is my character? What does he do? You know, what was his relationship with his great aunt? You know, you ask all those questions. And that's very good practice. After you've been doing it for some time, you know, you find other ways. Some actors... some actors, for instance, go to the wardrobe department and look at the shoes. They try on lots of different shoes. And then they find the right shoe for the character. You see, a young man walks lightly with his weight held high. And, you know, a solid builder man works sort of like that. An old man like me goes... keeping his balance very close together. And it's how you put your weight on the ground that in a way determines the actor, or the character rather. And I've known a couple of great actors who just did that. They would start from the ground up and build it. Some actors will, Olivier for instance, by the way, there are people here who know who Laurence Olivier was, aren't there? I was talking to a group of young American actors the other day, and I mentioned Olivier, and there was an absolute blank face. And I said, Sir Laurence Olivier, and nothing. All I can say is that if people can already have forgotten Laurence Olivier, who was arguably one of the greatest stage actors and film actor of the 20th century, what chance do the rest of us have? Anyway, Olivier would look in the mirror and he would create the thing. He put this artificial nose on, and he would put, you know, the walk and the cloak. But in truth, as an actor still, when I look at the script, I look at the character, and I think, what is my function here? What am I being paid to do? I'm paid to be the father of this young girl, the uncle of this young girl. What's he like? What influence has he had? How do I help tell the story? Think of the story, and think of the story as it should be told, and then fill in your imagination the rest of the story. I'm sorry, we could talk forever, and I probably do talk too much. I beg your pardon. Anyway, but good luck anyway.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Rhys-Davies, it has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to let him get back to his autograph table. And if you wanted a question, he's here for the rest of the day here at Comic-Con Aberdeen. Thank you so very much.
He's also here tomorrow, I hope.
There you go.
Inshallah.
Yes, thank you. Another round of applause for John Rhys-Davies.
I just want to say thank you for having me here. Thank you for being the intelligent, wise, and insightful audience that you are. I'm a great fan of the Scots people. You are a great, great people. And please know that you are loved throughout the world. Thank you.
Bravo. Thank you so much.
A big round of applause to our wonderful hostess
Thank you
here.
so much. Thank you so much. A gentleman and a scholar. Keep the applause going for John Rhys-Davies. Wow, discussing his illustrious career with us. That was such a treat.